Wait, you're telling me there's another Nick Frost horror movie that just came out? Didn't we just see a couple recently? Let's check it out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Getaway, which just premiered on Shudder, and you can watch it right now. So recently, Nick Frost has been in quite a few horror movies. He was just in Crazy House, which I actually really enjoyed, but a lot of people did not love, and he was also in Black Cab. Now, Getaway was directed by Stefan Harz, who is a director, one half of the directors who did Crazy House. And this story is written by Nick Frost. So I'm assuming Nick Frost probably had a idea that he wanted to spit at these guys while he was doing Crazy House, and they decided to do Getaway directly after it. I mean, there's two films like right back to back, and both of them are pretty dark humor, like dark horror humor. So what is Getaway anyway? It's about a family of English people, Nick Frost being the father, the mom, and two kids. There's a daughter and a son. They're all visiting Sweden, and they're going to a specific island where there was a story 200 years ago where everybody on the island had some sort of altercation where they thought there was a pandemic, and they decided to quarantine themselves on the island and ended up turning into cannibalism. And this English family is going to vacation there for an Airbnb, have been warned that this is not a good place to visit, and things get pretty out of hand when the villagers are about to celebrate their anniversary of this 200-year-old cannibalistic event. And you can imagine where this is headed. Or can you? This one was kind of obvious where it was headed. I started to pick up clues in the movie as it went on, and there is a movie that I would love to tell you what it reminded me of, but it would totally give away the plot. That is very similar to this one, and if you know, you know. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie to a degree. I didn't like it as much as I liked Crazy House, which for many of you is like saying I didn't like garbage over trash. Well, I absolutely loved Crazy House. It was kind of absurdist and crazy and wild and weird and all over the place. This one's a little bit more grounded in reality, although they are doing some things that are a little absurd because it feels like this would never really happen, but hypothetically it is, and so therefore I'm along for the ride. This is a scenario that's set up for this family to experience a lot of what the hell is going on. I get vibes of folk horror right off the bat, which this feels like it borrows from like the Wicker Man, the original Wicker Man, only it's a family going on vacation instead of a guy investigating the town in this island. And then it also has this other vibe about it where it's like these family members are getting put into a situation where a bunch of townspeople are ready to eat them kind of vibe, which I've seen in a lot of different other movies. There was like an Australian film very similar to this situation in an isolated town where everybody's a cannibal kind of feel, playing with that, but doing something ultimately more different by the end of the film, and that is going to make it or break it for some people. Clearly, the humor in this movie is dark, but it's also not extremely laugh out loud. But overall, the tone of this film I actually really enjoyed. I had a good time watching the film. I had a few laughs in the film, weird moments in the movie, because all of the different characters are sort of bouncing off of each other, doing very extremely weird things, including the house that they stay in, the person who's renting it out, and the townsfolk who are living on the island. Plus, this director is no stranger to awkward comedy where it's kind of fluctuating all over the place, doing things that you are thinking you should laugh at, maybe want to laugh at, and then sometimes you do laugh at, but it's just this weird mixed bag of stuff with all of this cast of characters. I think the family members are all pretty interesting and unique, and you can kind of follow along. It does kind of go into what the fuck territory, which I would expect with this director in particular. It seems to be like something new that Nick Frost is really enjoying. So I wonder if we're going to see a lot more movies from these two in the future. 2 movies together already. They obviously work really well together. This movie also kind of shows that, and how well it's filmed, how well it's shot, how well everything looks. You know, the blood, the gore that's in this film is actually pretty good. There's quite a bit of like really silly gag gore in this film, and I think a lot of people will appreciate that in a lot of respects, and I think a lot of people will appreciate that dark sense of humor in this film, but you have to taper your expectations a little bit. While the movie is fun and has like this vibe about it that is interesting, in other words, like many of these films, it kind of takes a little while to get to the part that really kind of is exhilarating in this film, but it has this moment in the film where things really kind of pick up, and they have a lot of really good music choices that people just get murdered to, and it's actually pretty cool. But there's going to be little parts along the way that'll carry you through. It just might, you know, differ for each person that watches it, because, you know, humor, as always, is subjective, but with these guys in particular, the humor is just so all over the place. Like, some people may just not grasp onto it, but I think there's enough story there to really kind of loop you in to wonder what the hell's gonna happen next as each one of these characters kind of reveals themselves. The gore and the violence, the pushover nature of Nick Frost, and like, you know, his kids that are out of control, and his wife who's just kind of trying to keep up appearances. There's just a lot to kind of like dig into. I would say give it a chance to get to the part that I'm talking about, and I think it'll either win you over or it won't, but I still think you'll see that it is a decent film to check out, and you may actually enjoy it more because it's an easier story to follow along than Crazy House was, which was absurdist. This one definitely feels a little bit more of the mainstream attempt, but still trying to be that dark humor movie that doesn't win everybody else over. And I like the gore in the movie, so I thought it was really fun when it gets to that point and you start to see all the blood and everything all over the place. It isn't the most gory filled film I've ever seen, but it definitely adds to the comedy in this film, I think, and it kind of adds to the excitement of the movie. I've seen better Nick Frost films altogether, but it is nice to kind of see him going for that like horror aspect, the genre aspect, and still doing the comedy part too, because obviously he's still got what it takes to play the parts that are in this, and he's trying his hand at doing a little bit more writing too, which I admire and want to see too. So like I said, maybe they'll be doing more films in the future like this, or we'll see more films that he's going to be doing as a writer and maybe even a director one day. He's definitely going about the style of sharing the stage with all of these different characters as he writes it, so it's not just like all about Nick Frost. Each of the characters has some funny bits in it. But yeah, I don't know. Something about this one in particular just didn't win me over fully like the other movie did, but I still think I would add it to my collection to watch occasionally. It wouldn't be a every year kind of thing, just a, you know, I like this movie, it's kind of fun to watch kind of thing. I would personally give this movie about a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's going to necessarily be at the top of the, you know, top 10 or 20 of this year, but I think it's worth a watch if you're looking for a horror comedy early in this year. I think it's a good start. Had I not seen the movie before this that it reminds me of, it might have actually done better, but I couldn't get that little piece to shake from my thoughts. But it just feels like it kind of borrowed from it, so in a way it took away from my experience. If you're looking for a comedy to have fun with, but maybe not go over the moon about, depends if you have any other films to compare it to, like I've been talking, and I think this one is a fun one once you at least get to the third act, so stick around to that. But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think about this film in the comment section down below. Did you fire this one up right away and watch it and check it out? I'm a little late, a little bit behind, and I got a lot more stuff on the way, including the 10 more movies that you missed last year. And I also have got a new surprise video I'm going to do for you guys, an unboxing. And I've also got more haul videos that I am still churning away behind the scenes. It's a lot of work. But yeah, stick around, guys. Thank you so much for coming by. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And as always, long live the void.